This is Orlando's Sentinel Now.
Hello and welcome. It's Friday, June 25th, and this is Orlando Sentinel Now. Today, we're talking about First Lady Jill Biden as well as Dr. Anthony Fauci's visit to Kissimmee. And we're also talking about COVID-19 variant strains making their way into Orange County, as well as a discussion on ABC Fine Wine's plans to start opening up car washes. I'm your host, Joe Mario Pedersen, and joining me today, I have Orlando government reporter Ryan Gillespie, as well as business reporter Austin Fuller. Thank you both so much for being here today. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. Ryan, coming to you first, as I mentioned earlier, Jill Biden and Dr. Anthony Fauci visited Kissimmee, specifically a vaccination clinic in Kissimmee. Can you tell us, while they were there, what was the purpose of their trip and what message were they broadcasting to the community?
Yeah, so they were making a Florida swing as part of this nationwide tour the Biden administration is doing to promote their vaccination efforts. The president had set a pretty ambitious goal of trying to have 70% or at least 70% of U.S. adults with at least a dose of vaccine by the 4th of July. The White House acknowledged this week that they're probably not going to reach that goal, but they'll get fairly close. But regardless, people within the Biden administration, whether that's the First Lady Joe Biden and Dr. Anthony Fauci or the second gentleman, are kind of circling the country at this point, making stops in various states with kind of lagging vaccination rates. And right now, ours is one of those. So yesterday they were in Kissimmee. They stopped at this nonprofit health clinic, which has a drive-through vaccination site. They greeted some vehicles of people who were coming in to get vaccinated and spoke with them for several minutes. Appeared to be warm conversations. I wasn't, a part of the conversations, but I was nearby. And then addressed some activists and community organizations that are helping get the word out on vaccines, as well as staff at the health center. And then also made a brief statement to the media, basically pushing for the remaining 44% of Floridians without a dose of vaccine to go ahead and do that now.
So their mission to push those vaccination rates up, but Florida as a whole, I'm wondering what difficulties is the state facing in trying to boost those vaccinations?
There's a lot of difficulties. If you look at where we are as a state right now in terms of how many people are getting shots on a weekly basis, the decline that we're seeing is quite stark. The week of April 9th, there was, say, 1.3 million shots administered statewide. Last week or 2 weeks ago, there was like 340,000. So very few people statewide are getting shots on a daily basis, especially compared to where we were a few months ago. We already were battling vaccine hesitancy. So there's a chunk of people in this state who just aren't going to get vaccinated for whatever their reason is, whether it's, conspiracy based or misinformation based or they just don't see a need to. So that's part of it. There's potentially some partisan politics at play. There was a story out of CNN, I believe it was last week, that of the states that are going to reach the president's goal of 70% vaccination, they all voted for him. Our state did not. So there are quite a few challenges that are going on. And then from a practical standpoint, the states had these sites that have gone around, these mobile sites where they essentially drive what looks like an RV up to like a shopping center or a church or a community event, and they vaccinate as many people as they can at these places. Those sites end tomorrow. So the state's effort as an actual government entity is over, essentially, which means local governments, community organizations like Osceola Community Health Services, where they were yesterday, those type of agencies are going to be shouldering that burden going forward.
Ryan, I'd also like to talk to you about another difficulty that Orange County specifically may be facing. You and fellow reporter Steve Hudak worked on a report just a couple days ago talking about how a variant strain, the Delta strain of COVID-19, has shown cases here in Orange County. What do we know so far about that?
What we know right now is that there are 12 cases that are documented of this variant, which is thought to be the most infectious strain that we know of so far of COVID-19. And so there are a couple of important things to note here. When I say there are 12 documented, in all likelihood, there are far more than 12 cases. It's probably not just in Orange County, it's probably in every county. It's probably in every population center that we have in the state, because that just tends to be how these work. We don't, as a state and as a country, we don't investigate every single positive case of COVID-19 for these mutations. It's a very small percentage. It's like 1.5% of cases get traced. So Just like every strain or mutated strain before it, it's here in far higher numbers than we expect, especially when you consider that it's the most infectious out of all of them so far. So the other things to know is it currently is 1 in 5 infections nationwide, according to Dr. Fauci, are this Delta variant strain. Dr. Raul Pino, who's our local state health officer in Orange County, said he expects it to be the predominant strain here within weeks. So this is a sort of normal cycle that happens when people don't get vaccinated at high enough numbers. It allows the virus to mutate. It allows it to essentially adapt and survive. So basically what this variant is it was discovered in India. We've talked before, and we all seen on the news the horrific infection rates and the results of that over there. And so the virus was able to mutate and change itself to basically find a home within people there. So that's sort of what's happening here. That will likely continue to repeat itself until we reach herd immunity, whatever that actually is, to stop this virus from spreading.
And just to reinforce that last point, Ryan, the vaccine, it does protect even against this variant strain that we're seeing, correct?
Correct. So basically, when we talk about vaccination, the thing that's important to remember is that it doesn't necessarily stop you from getting sick. You could potentially get sick from this variant or COVID-19, but what it does is it's nearly 100%. It's basically 100% effective against hospitalization and death. So it basically eliminates the most severe outcomes that we see, or that we've seen from hundreds of thousands of Americans and millions worldwide from this virus. So the case for vaccination is pretty simple in that regard, that if you are eligible to get it, it is a good idea to do it. Right now you have to be at least 12 years of age, so you can get your children vaccinated as long as they're at least 12 years of age. And if you have questions about health conditions or suppressed immune system, it's a good idea to talk to your doctor.
There you go. A lot of information there, but if you guys are looking for details more on that, be sure to take a look at both of those reports by Ryan and Steve Hudak at orlandosentinel.com. Ryan, thank you so much. Austin, I want to come to you now for a news story I'm very eager to talk about here, and that is the announcement that ABC Fine Wine and Spirits will be diversifying its business by opening up car wash establishments. What do we know about this so far?
Yeah, like you said, ABC, which is a family-owned chain based here in Orlando, is looking to diversify with car washes. It's still early. We don't know a lot. We don't know timeline. We don't know which of their properties could become car washes. We don't know if or how many existing ABC stores might be converted into car washes. They did say their priority is looking at available in future properties, but they also said it's not unusual for them to convert older stores from time to time, especially if they built a new one nearby.
The question that I want to ask you here, and the question that I think many people might have upon reading this headline even, is why? Why is ABC Fine Wine and Spirits opening up car washes? Have they announced why they think that this may work out for them?
Like I said, they want to diversify their portfolio of businesses. So they're obviously an alcohol retailer. Car washes would certainly be diversifying. I talked to a professor at UCF who said it's definitely one of the most unusual cases of unrelated diversification that I've seen. And he kind of told me that if your unrelated diversification is typically less successful than if you're diversifying with a related business.
I could see how that would be true. That's certainly interesting. As far as the choice of car washing goes, I mean, do they see an opportunity in car washing or possibly an increase in that business that they want to get into?
The professor I talked to mentioned that car washing is expected to be growing because with people coming out of the pandemic, traveling more, they might be in need of that service.
All right. Surprising, but very interesting. If you all are looking for more information on that, be sure to take a look at Austin's story at orlandosentinel.com. And about the Orlando Sentinel, for those of you who are subscribed to the Orlando Sentinel, thank you so much for continuing to support our work and supporting local journalism. If you want to become a subscriber, it's easy to do so. All you need to do is visit orlandosentinel.com/subscribe. But as for OSN, that is our show here for today. A big thank you to Ryan and Austin for keeping us filled in what's going on in our community. community. We'll be back again next week with more news at noon. We'll see you then. Stay healthy and stay safe.
Watch Orlando's Sentinel Now live every weekday at noon on our Facebook page and on orlandosentinel.com.